This is New Rural Virginia, reclaiming rural leadership through conversation featuring real voices, real issues from the heart of the Commonwealth. Hey y'all, Parson Brown here, and you're listening to New Rural Virginia Podcast.
And I'm Larry Wohlers, and we're your podcast hosts. So, Parson, I hear that you've been traveling around seeing some pretty interesting people.
Well,
what's that all about?
Well, yeah. I ended up in Charlottesville, one of my favorite places in the Commonwealth. On the 21st, it was an event for Abigail Spanberger, who is, of course, a proud UVA Wahoo herself. It's at the Jefferson Theater. Secretary Pete Buttigieg was there supporting her campaign, which was exciting enough. But then I found out that Bill Nye, the science guy, was also in the lineup. And I gotta tell you, I almost lost my mind. Got super excited and nostalgic. My generation grew up with him. So I rode down with some friends and we ended up sitting near two familiar voices from this show, candidates Shane Boswell and Joy Powers. So it was good to see them and catch up in person. It was a pretty big night. More than 1,300 people packed the place there, with lines that were stretched all the way around the building, all around the block, and down into the downtown mall area in Charlottesville. Apparently was a record turnout for a political rally there, largest ever. Bill Nye there to endorse Spanberger and talked about the recent NASA funding concerns. Bill Nye and the folks at the Planetary Society, they're the ones that keep tabs on asteroids and any projectile that might potentially hit the planet Earth. He's literally making sure we don't get blindsided by the universe. And I don't know about y'all, but I sleep better knowing that Bill and I's on asteroid duty, just saying. Obviously, he's known for his science expertise and his bow ties. He's so cool, dude.
Yeah, he's the real thing.
He also delivers one heck of a stump speech that really packs a punch. The science guy did not hold back. Some serious kinetic energy there. It was great. I think a lot of us needed that and maybe didn't even realize it. I know I did. So that was fun, and he's such a great speaker.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, today we have somebody else with us who's a pretty impressive speaker. Someone from our neck of the woods, Fauquier, Culpeper, and Rappahannock counties, Jac Bennington.
And we are so happy to have him back.
That's right.
Yep.
We, of course, spoke with him before, and we are really looking forward to see what he's been doing on the campaign trail and what he's been hearing.
So, Jac, what are the key issues that you're hearing when you're going door to door and when you're talking to your neighbors? The things that keep people up at night in your district still. We want to hear how you're feeling, how the campaign is going, and really get a sense of what you're experiencing in the process of this election, because it's so important.
What I have experienced is an eye-opening experience in that what I have learned. When I spoke to you all a few months ago, the thing that people kept talking about were schools, housing, and energy, and it has stayed the same. It has stayed the same. It has not been all of what I would call like the ancillary things you sometimes see people discussing that most people aren't really concerned about. Cost of living, affordable housing has been something that Abigail Spanberger has been pushing for. And I think that she's got her finger on the pulse, so to speak, because that's what people are concerned about. They're concerned about the fact that if they can't afford a home, how are they going to get one? And what's that doing to delay their natural progression in life? I spoke with individuals with Habitat for Humanity at Fauquier County, and they laid it out perfectly. And I think that should be something that every member of the House of Delegates should see, where there's a cycle of homes, where if you get to your starter home, then you usually get to the next home. And then after that, maybe a third home. And then usually you're going to start to then go to downsize and then be in a smaller home. But because of the lack of inventory and because of other external factors, that has delayed where people are not moving along. And so now you have this kind of log jam where people are not able to get into that starter home, and has impacted people significantly, where they're not able to then make just simple plans on what they want to do with their careers, what they want to do with their families, because they can't make that decision or they can't make that next step. moving out of a parent's home or another family member's home to then being on their own or renting on their own. One thing that Habitat for Humanity told me was that the median sales price of a home in Fauquier County, I am not lying when I say this, $687,000. That's the
Wow.
median price of a home in Fauquier County. It's a price that 77% of the Fauquier workforce cannot sustain. I can't sustain it as a teacher.
That's
Right.
astounding.
It is.
Yeah.
It is significant, and this is
Yeah.
an issue that, and we talked about it before, and Larry, you said it, is that it's not going to be some magic bullet that's just going to solve it. I mean, because if it was,
No.
done by now. But what needs to happen is that the General Assembly, the state government needs to address this issue, and they need to do what they can to make housing more affordable. So that we are going to allow people to get into their first home and then progress through that natural cycle of home ownership. The other thing that people have talked about is schools. They've been concerned about the schools. And these are issues, like I said, I think a few months ago, they affect everybody. This is not just
That's right.
Republican, Democrat. This affects
Absolutely.
but schools, making sure that schools have the funding that they need, so that a few things happen is that the children get the quality education that they deserve. And then on top of that is that the teachers are going to then be compensated so that then they don't leave to go to other school districts. What I have found is when I talk to particularly parents who have kids in elementary school, they've said that they were so disappointed when their second child didn't get Mr. or Ms. So-and-so in, fourth grade or fifth grade.
Right.
Older child had that one, but Mr. Smith or Ms. Smith, they left to go to another school.
Because we're losing good teachers.
Right. And that's just going to happen. And I understand you need to have new teachers come in, but what we have also experienced is a significant shortage of teachers. In at least the 61st district. In Fauquier County alone, there's a shortage, I believe, of what I last saw was 52 teachers throughout the county. There's an opening for that. And that's just the certified. Classified, it's even, I think it's like 26 classified positions. And this is going to take a toll on the education of our kids. And then the other thing is it's energy and concerns about energy and the expected or forecasted rise in the costs of energy. That in combination with the housing affordability, it's putting a squeeze on the everyday Virginians. And that's what people have been talking about. It hasn't been the issues that affect so few people that get some people fired up. It's not that. And so when I saw the debate, I don't know about you all, but I saw the debate between Spanberger and Earl Sears, and Representative Spanberger, she was talking about the issues that the people are discussing when I knock on doors or when I talk to people. What Lieutenant Governor Sears was talking about is just not something that I've heard. And it's not something that I think most people are focused on. My opponent, I felt like I kind of joined the club. I got a mailer in my mailbox that had me, Delegate Guzman, and Jay Jones, and it was Democrats won't keep you safe. And I thought to myself, and won't protect the families. And I thought of all the issues, man. I was like, because I have flown Border Patrol agents for a year. I've flown state and local police to keep our communities and country safe. And I thought, it's not really the issue that most people are concerned about. And the second thing is that's not really something that you got on me, which I thought was just kind of interesting. But it kind of went back to that whole worn out playbook that when there's not much to use, the opposition will kind of default to that. And then we saw that, like I said, in the debate.
Anyway,
I saw a joke of an ad, if you will, a funny ad in which they were saying, what if we were to give teachers a $50,000 signing bonus, a $100,000 salary, and a $60,000 student loan forgiveness, just like we give people who sign up for ICE, right? And but when you think about it, what they're saying there is the Republicans in Congress are willing to spend money. They just don't want to spend it on teachers, on education, right? They want to spend it on these ICE people.
Yeah.
And that tells you a lot about the priorities that are out there.
I agree very much so. And I've said it before and said it numerous times. I think I said it here when we spoke last, is that public education to me is the single greatest investment that a society can make in itself. And
100%.
And again, it benefits everybody. That is something that everyone would benefit from. Not only the kids that are in the school, but then also the community as well. Because 10 years from now, the 14-year-olds that are in high school right now that are freshmen that have no idea what they want to do in life, they're going to be that 24-year-old HVAC technician. They're going to be that 24-year-old.
That's right.
They're going to be that 24-year-old car mechanic. They're going to be the contractor who's going to be working on your home, your car,
Yeah.
taking care of you when you need that medical assistance from that 24-year-old nurse. And I think it's just a benefit for us all to focus on. Or I think it's something we should all focus on because it's a benefit to all of us.
Yeah, why wouldn't we want to raise people in our own community to feel included, to feel like they have opportunity in our communities and that there's a future for them as well? That's such a
Right.
struggle for rural communities.
You are in a district, Fauquier, Culpeper, and Rappahannock, where the majority of people have voted Republican for quite a long time. I think it's clear that right now people are feeling nervous about change, about the uncertainty around us, and pretty unhappy with the cost of living. You seem very focused on very practical, pragmatic issues. Are you finding that this is translating into a willingness from voters to hear what you have to say, to maybe think about things a little bit differently?
Yes, I think it's been a culmination of things. I think it's because of the fact that when I've talked to people, I've told them that at one point in time, I identified as a moderate Republican, having voted for Democrats, Republicans in previous elections and primaries. And a lot of people have kind of said, yeah, that's kind of like me. And they feel a little bit disillusioned. They feel as if there's really the party that they were associated with has kind of just gone off into the woods. And then they've changed as well. I mean, I think that when I've talked to people, they have come across as they want to see some change. I've heard frequently that they've said, yeah, he's been in for a while, hasn't he? He's been in for over 10 years, right? I said, yeah, he was elected in 11. And some people, I think, are also not sure that there will be a government that is going to be pushing back against what I call DC-based pain. And that's that spending cuts from Medicaid that are going to occur about a year from now. It's going to be at late October, so it's going to be right before the election. And that's done not by chance. And so I think that what they're concerned about is that if we don't have Abigail Spanberger as our governor, and if we don't have a General Assembly that is Democratic in configuration, composition, that we won't have something to push back against unless it's be kind of like Texas that just laid down and did exactly what President Trump wanted them to do. And that's not going to work in Virginia. And it won't work if we have Spanberger as our governor and we have that General Assembly that's Democratic in composition and majority.
Yep, yeah, that's right.
So that's all the more reason to have you voted yet, Jack? Have you voted? Did you vote for yourself?
I am getting out there. The time has not been on my side, like that one song of the Beatles, I guess it was. But it is going to be next week is when I plan to go out there. I'm going to do it early. I'm not waiting until the election day. I mean, there's nothing wrong against voting on election day. I get it. There's something that's to be said.
Right.
But my parents, my mother and father, I was talking to them. My father's almost 78, my mother's 76, and they were talking about. I told them about early voting, and my mother said, "I can do that." I said, "Yeah, Mom, you can do that."
That's right.
I told them about the locations, and then looked it up. I said, "These are this is the location, this is the time." And so then my father, who is very much a vote on election day kind of guy, he actually voted early, and
nice. Well, and there's that nostalgia. I enjoy it. I'm still gonna be at the polls here in Warren County on election day, but I voted early because I just couldn't stand it. I had to. So
I've done it every other election. I do it to one, it makes me, like you said, Parson, makes you feel good that you got that vote in. And then the other thing is that then I know I've gotten it taken care of. And on election day, especially now as a candidate, it didn't give me flexibility where I can then go where I need to go last minute.
You're going to be very busy that day, I can imagine.
Right. And so here's the thing is virtually every state, if not every state to the south of us, is gerrymandered, right? So that your vote may not really count at all, right? The value of your vote may have been gerrymandered away, but not here in Virginia. Here in Virginia, every vote counts and counts equally. So you owe it to your neighbors to go out there and be counted, right?
Oh, yeah,
And-
yes.
Yeah, and not even I wouldn't even say owe it. Like it's like you're obliged. It's an honor to vote. And
Well, that's true.
I'm telling all y'all, anybody that's listening, every Virginian, get out there and vote. Vote early. Vote on the day if the nostalgia suits you. I get that too. And
Mhm.
we're going to be having early voting is also going to open up on Saturdays.
Saturdays before.
Right.
It's the 25th
Yes.
of October and the 1st of November. Those are the 2 Saturdays where you can vote early.
So even more opportunities. So Virginia, you matter, and get out there and vote, please.
I mean, if you think about it, I did just a basic Google search on it. We've had about 1.2 million Americans die in our nation's conflicts so that we can have the right to vote. I thought about my grandfather, who he was exempt from the draft in World War II because he was head of household. He was the oldest male child in his home. And he said, I still want to go. And he joined the Navy and was in the South Pacific, went from Appalachia, Virginia to the South Pacific. And, people, and he wasn't the only one to do something like that. And to think about what all those individuals have done over the course of our nation's history, I think that it's our most precious right is to vote. And that's what we have the ability to do. I mean, you can go to protests, so you can protest at the No Kings rally, and you can get your voice heard that day. But if you really want your voice heard for 2 years or 4 years, is you go to those polls and you vote, because that's going to be determining what direction our government's going to go in the next 2 and 4 years, 2 years for the delegates and then 4 years for the 3 statewide offices.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That's right. Well, we've been saying this is perhaps the most consequential election for Virginia in a generation, and you are a part of it. So we thank you for what you're doing, for being out there, for talking to voters, and for understanding what their needs are.
And keeping the conversation going, and for showing up.
You all have done that too. I mean, you all have. When Larry, when you talked about this back in the early summer, I thought this is a great idea, because what has happened, I think, is that the rural Virginia, rural America, has been kind of cast to the side.
Right.
And it should not be. There are people that love living in a rural setting that's either home or they wanted to come to a rural setting after being in a more urban area. And there needs to be attention brought to issues that pertain to rural America, rural Virginia. And thank you all for doing that and getting the candidates and also Senator Kane, just getting people there to talk about it, getting that message out, and that people then know a little bit more about their state.
We are doing it together. This has been an incredible experience. This experience talking to all of you and the other candidates and Senator Kane has really been, I personally feel like I've benefited just from these conversations. I hope that there's been some value taken from it from others.
And Jack, thank you for being supportive from the beginning, because my family thought it was a crazy idea. They said, "What? You doing a podcast?" Here we are.
It was great. It's been a good experience. Thank you all for having me on, and then also for letting me listen to other people's opinions and hearing what other people are experiencing in different parts of the state. And it's even just districts that are relatively close by. You get to hear what people are experiencing and thinking about.
That's right.
Well, we will definitely, like the time, the clock is ticking, and we will keep an eye on your campaign. I'm wishing you the best of luck. Thank you so much, Jack, for joining us again.
Well, thank you. We've been talking to Jac Bennington, candidate in HD 61. Thanks so much.
Thank you all.
New Rural Virginia Candidate Spotlight is a production of New Rural Virginia. Visit newruralva.org for more. Produced and co-hosted by Larry Wohlers and yours truly, Parson Brown. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode.